9.89% dividend yield. This stock is currently at $50.24. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $71.81 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 42.93% increase. Hey guys, this is February 10th through 14th, this week's winning stocks. And we're going to go through the stocks on our watch list of fundamentally sound stocks moving up from their annual low price. But before we jump into that, I want to go through the S&P 500, the Dow, and the Nasdaq because those three explain what's pretty much been happening with the entire market. And first, we start with the SPY. We see that it was up towards its top about a month ago, and it moved down for the next 2 weeks, and now this week it moved back up to about where it was before it started that decline. When we look at the Dow, we see the same. We see around a month ago it was down. It moved up sideways a little, and now we see this week it sort of jumped up, but sort of like a doji. So not exactly at the top, but around where it was. Lastly, we have the Nasdaq. And the Nasdaq moved pretty close to the SPY. Down around a month ago and before that. Then a couple of weeks sideways. This last week it moved up some. So we want to see some of the stocks on our watch list and what they've been doing. But before doing that, let's take a look at the app which presents the stocks on our watch list to us. And we see that the app that presents these stocks to us is StockSage. And what does StockSage do? It actually looks at all the stocks at their annual low price, their 52-week low price, and it pulls up all of the fundamentally sound stocks. How does it do that? Well, first, it shows us the stocks that have at least 3 of the last 5 years positive earnings per share. And you'll see many of them have all 5 years positive earnings. Now, what do we ideally want? A company where the earnings per share is increasing every year. But not all of them are going to be like that. But you see that we have a few that have positive earnings per share. We could narrow that list down even more. We could say, show me the stocks that do stock buybacks for all 5 years. Company buying back shares of their own stocks. And the list gets even smaller. We could say, show me the stocks with current assets are greater than current liabilities. And all the stocks in this list by default have total assets greater than total liabilities. List gets even smaller. And lastly, well, the lastly would be the dividend yield. But before that, we could say, show me stocks where in the last 5 years they have greater than 10% profit margin or greater than 20% profit margin. And we see that this weekend we have no stocks which meet that criteria. But in days where there are some, they will pop up on our list. Lastly, and I'm going to turn all these filters off, we can say show us stocks with dividend yields greater than 4%, which we have a few, about four. Greater than 10%, which we don't have any this weekend, but there's been occasion where we've had a few. And greater than 20%, which we don't have any this weekend, but there are occasions where we even get a few of those. Some of them American companies, and some of them companies outside of America, because companies outside of America, they don't focus on the growth of their stock price as much as they give bigger dividends. So, in any event, the StockSage app is where we find these stocks from. And but now having expressed that, let's jump back over into our watch list. And the first one that we have is Bruge Energy. This is a cheap stock, $1.35. And we see from its low, it hasn't really moved up yet. We see from the stochastics that it's pretty much at the bottom and just starting to break out. And there's like barely any volume showing at all on this stock. Now, the next one we have is a $2.24 stock called Heritage Global. Now, just a couple of things to mention is that one of the things that I previously had on these stock charts was stochastics and RSI, relative strength, because I wanted to see when the stocks were in an oversold condition and moving up on the indicators. I've removed relative strength, still left stochastics there, but I removed relative strength to actually show our volume on there because I basically know someone who's using volume in a strategy that they've developed and wanted to make it simpler for them and for you to get a look at the volume of these stocks. Volume tells you how much of the stocks is being bought or sold in a day. Is it a lot of volume, like in this, like right here, where you see the stock moving up because the volume's going up, or even here where you see the stock going up because the volume's going up? Those are buying volume, the green ones, or the red ones, selling volume, where you see the volume moving a little higher here and the stock is going down. So in any event, this stock has an earnings date on March 13th. And an earnings date is sort of like a report card for businesses. When you were a child, you got a report card that told you how you did the last semester. An earnings report tells how a business did over the last 3 months. And that earnings report can affect the stock price because if it comes out good, the stock can dramatically jump up. If it comes out bad, the stock can dramatically drop. Heritage Global has an earnings report on March 13th. It's currently at $2.24 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $4.17 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be an 86.16% return. And we see that this stock, each of these candles represent a week. So we see that this stock has been climbing for a few weeks here. Next, we have Papa John's. Now, this stock has a 3.75% dividend yield and an earnings report coming out on February 27th. It is a $49.04 a share stock. Yahoo Analyst estimates it can move up to $57.01 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 16.25% return. For that reason, it's going to be removed from the watch list after this week. And you see, it's made a nice move up this last week. And in that nice move up, you see this long green candle representing the volume. We have Energy Recovery. They have an earnings report dropping on February 26th. This is a $15.29 stock. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $19.33 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 26.42% increase. We have Greystone Housing Impact. This stock has an 11.47% dividend yield and an earnings report dropping on February 20th. This stock is at $12.90 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $16.75 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 29.84% increase. We have LKQ Corporation. They have an earnings report dropping on February 20th, and this company has a 3.07% dividend yield. They are currently at $39.11. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $51.92 in the next 12 months. If they do, that'll be a 32.75% increase. We have Saint Microelectronics. They have a 1.47% dividend yield and an earnings report dropping on April 23rd or later that week. This stock is $24.48. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $27.15. If it does, that'll be a 10.90% increase. For that reason, this stock will be removed from the watch list after this week. We have Civitas Resources. This stock has an earnings report dropping on February 24th and a 9.89% dividend yield. This stock is currently at $50.24. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $71.81 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 42.93% increase. And we see this moved up a few weeks, 4 weeks, dropped around 3 weeks, and now we're seeing a green candle again. Is it beginning to move back up? We have Stellantis, car manufacturer, and we see big volume these last couple of weeks. Big negative volume and 2 big positive volume weeks. This stock has an earnings report dropping on February 26th, and it has an 11.84% dividend yield. It's currently at $14.05 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $18.48 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 31.53% increase. We have National Research Corporation. That stock is at $17.70. and they have a 2.71% dividend yield. We have Excellus Technologies. They have an earnings report dropping on April 29th or later that week. This is a $61.06 stock. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $79.50 in the next 12 months. If they do, that'll be a 30.19% increase. We have Anheuser-Busch, makers of Budweiser. They have an earnings date dropping February 26th and $1.64 or 1.64% dividend yield. This stock is at $53.12 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $69.75 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 31.30% increase. And they've been moving up around 4 of the last 5 weeks, and one of them was a doji. We have Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD, they make the chips. They have an earnings date dropping on April 28th or later that week. This is $113.10 a share stock. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $148.34. If they do, that'll be a 31.15% increase. We have BWLPG Limited. They have an earnings report dropping on February 27th or later that week, and this stock pays a 13.26% dividend yield. We see back here that it moved up a few weeks, sideways, up a little more, and it's still starting a little sideways again. We have Astrana Health. They have an earnings date dropping on February 25th or later that week. We see they've moved up a couple of weeks, sort of sideways a little, even though it dropped a little, and back up this last week. They're at $38.96 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $62.10 in the next 12 months. If they do, that'll be a 59.39% increase. We have Adobe Inc. They have an earnings report dropping on March 12th of 25, and this stock is currently at $460.16 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $573.34 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 24.59% increase. We have Ashland Inc. They have an earnings date or earnings report dropping on April 28th or later that week, and they have a 2.50% dividend yield. They're currently at $64.90 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $86.10 in the next 12 months. If they do, that'll be a 32.66% increase. We have Haemonetics Corporation. They have an earnings date dropping on May 7th or later that week. They're currently at $62.36 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $96.80 in the next 12 months. If they do, that'll be a 55.22% increase. And notice, if you see this long red candle here where they move down, notice this long red volume candle down here. And notice the next week, which was last week, not as long, but a long green candle. And what do we see? The stock starts to move back up. We want to see what the volume is in this next coming week, as well as what the stock does in the market. Does it move up? We have New Oriental Education. This is another stock about to be removed from our watch list. They have an earnings report coming out on April 22nd or later that week. This stock is currently at $55.48 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $67.36. If it does, that'll be a 21.41% increase. We have Elf Beauty. They have an earnings report dropping on February 6th. I just dropped the fundamental analysis for Elf Beauty in the channel about a week ago. In any event, they are currently at $73 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate they can move up to $96.30 in the next 12 months. If they do, that'll be a 31.91% increase. And we have Edgewell Personal Care. They have a May 6th or later that week earnings report dropping and a 2.01% dividend yield. Now, if you look at the volume for this stock, you'll see it's really high. And you'll see it was, but it was a slight, the week was positive, but not much, but it just started to move back up. It began the week down and moved back up. In any event, this stock is at $29.78 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $36.12 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 21.28% return. For that reason, it's about to be removed from our watch list as well. We have Manhattan Associates. They have an earnings report coming out on April 21st. This stock is at $190.41 a share. Yahoo analysts estimate it can move up to $262.60 in the next 12 months. If it does, that'll be a 37.91% increase. So that's it for our stocks on this week's Stock Winners, guys. I look forward to speaking to you in the next video. Have a great night.